Welcome everyone. If you're new here, my name is Tolu. I'm a Christian dating coach and I specialize in showing you exactly how to attract your husband as a single Christian woman. Now, I'm currently going through applications to work with me one-on-one. If you want my assistance in doing this, just like I've helped my clients to achieve, especially if you're a woman over 30 that has struggled with dating and doesn't know how to attract quality men, then this will be the right program for you. So today I want to talk about how dating to marry helps you attract your husband. Now, dating to marry is the name of my program. I'm just going to be walking through how I walk you through that process of attracting your spouse so that you don't have to keep entertaining situationships, being confused by men's intentions. You don't have to keep getting ghosted, getting confused, clueless around how to approach relationships. I'm going to walk you through how my program shows you exactly, regardless of your situation, whether you're a divorced or single mom, you've never been in a relationship before, you've never gone on dates, regardless of your position. I'm going to walk you through how my program helps you to attract your husband. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to drop it in the question box and I will answer. Now, if you're interested in working with me, all you have to do is click the link in my bio to apply. So the first thing that I like to work on is patterns. So whenever I say patterns, guys, what I simply mean is your habit, your routine around relationships, how you talk to men, how you connect with men. All of you have patterns. You may have noticed that you never get asked out on dates. You can be in the talking stage for months. Sometimes you find yourselves, as a result of the talking stage, being in a situationship, not a relationship. Some of you find that you never move past the second date. You never move past the second month in a relationship. You may also be in a situation where men that you find attractive are not attracted to you, and the men that you do not want to attract are attracted to you. It's as a result of your patterns. It's kind of like if you are, if you're noticing that you're gaining more weight or you're struggling to get fit, the first thing that your fitness coach is going to look at is your patterns. What do you eat? How do you exercise? How regularly do you check your health? And so on and so forth. So if you're seeing a pattern in the way you're interacting with men, maybe all men lose interest when they're talking to you. If you find that you never get asked out on dates, if you find that you're not attracting the quality and caliber of men you want, you always are in a financially stronger position than the men you attract, it is because of something you are doing recurrently. And the first part of my program addresses this, because I need to know exactly what you're doing wrong so that we can get you in a position to start dating the right way for you to attract the quality and caliber of spouse you want. And I've seen this happen with my clients again and again and again. Just a simple shift in the way that they're using their patterns, because guess what? Your patterns are not working against you. They're there to work in your favor. I've had clients that have progressed to marriage, within a year of joining the program, progressed to relationships during the course of working with me, broken out of toxic situationships during the course of the program. Why? Because there was just a shift in their patterns. They started using it in their favor. Just like if you're trying to get fit, I always like using the fitness example. I really enjoy, exercise, working out, all of that. And I'm sure a lot of you do as well. So I tend to gravitate towards fitness as an example. So for instance, if you're to start working out now, you may be an early riser. You may tell your coach that you prefer to work out in the morning. Some of you prefer to work out later in the day. Your coach will probably ask you, what do you enjoy eating? Do a shift in your diet so that it's not difficult for you to stick to a new dietary plan. It's the same way in dating to marry. I use your patterns to understand how do you naturally show up in the dating scene so that we can work on making that work in your favor. Some of you may find that you easily attract men. Your issue is not attracting men. Your issue is around keeping that connection going. Some of you may not be attracting men at all, but when you do, you find that there is an ease in connection and communication flowing. For some of you, you don't even know where to meet men, how to meet men. You're not comfortable enough in your femininity to be confident when you are engaging with the opposite sex. Everyone has a pattern. It's just about learning how to use your patterns in a way that allows you to attract, relate, connect, and, commit to the right man for you. Whatever position you're currently in, whether you're divorced, you're a single mom, you're in a situationship, you've not been in a relationship ever or in years, I guarantee it is based on your pattern. If you were previously married, your pattern got you into that marriage. If you've never been in a relationship, your pattern is the reason why you've never been in a relationship. If you've always found yourself in situationships, it's something in your patterns. You're probably, and I'm not going to diagnose it here because obviously everyone's situation is different, but I just want you to really understand that the first part of my program really identifies exactly what you're doing so that we can use that in your favor and you can have a conscious understanding of how to show up in the dating scene in a way that allows you to naturally attract the right partner for you. Now, the second thing that needs work is your positioning. And when I say positioning, I like to keep things practical. So I'm going to break down what positioning means. Positioning simply refers to how men perceive you. That's another way of putting it. It has nothing to do with your location. You know, I have clients that have entered marriages in different locations off the top of my head in the US, Canada, the UK, Nigeria, and so on and so forth. I've had clients in different locations that have connected to and entered into marriages with their current spouses after going through my program. So it is, and they all went through the same process. It is not your location, it's your positioning. The way men are currently perceiving you. Some of you have gotten friend zoned, okay, by men that's just one example, by men that you find attractive. Some of you have been, in situations where they always dodge the commitment conversation. They do not desire to commit to you. You may have been in a situation where men just like to hang out with you, but they don't like to be intentional about that process. It's the way you're being perceived. Now, once you shift your positioning is all about alignment. How do you shift your positioning? By working on how you connect with men. Okay, so there's something that needs to shift in the way you're spiritually aligned, physically, emotionally aligned. And what I do with my clients in dating to marry is walk them through that process intimately so that we can see shifts that need to occur. And how I do this is I was literally talking to a client yesterday. She's able to articulate exactly where she is in the dating process. She's been able to identify that she is attracting men on a more consistent basis than she was doing before. She's been able to identify how to use her natural femininity to attract and connect with men in a quality way. Why? Because we're working on how men perceive her by shifting her positioning. And in a matter of time, I have no doubt, just like my other clients, that she will connect to her spouse and she will connect, and she started going on dates, she will connect with the right man for her. Because your positioning is all about how men perceive you. So wherever you are in that positioning, if you're currently experiencing, and I did a post a while back about how men do not find you interesting. Again, that says a lot about your positioning. That means you do not know how to connect with a man on a substantial level to draw him in, so to speak. And it's not that you're not interesting, you just don't know how to communicate that interest that inhabits naturally within you. You struggle with that. And it may possibly be because of a traumatic experience in your past. Maybe you were in a relationship that didn't work out and you really struggled with your identity in that relationship. You're really questioning your attractiveness because, you're a single mom and you're questioning how you can still be as attractive as a woman that doesn't have kids. It could be something around your age. You feel like you're getting older and you're not as attractive as when you were younger. There's something in your positioning that is affecting the way men perceive you. Now, literally had a client that was going through the same process of an identity crisis, so to speak, because she couldn't understand how to attract men with her current position as being divorced and also being a single mom. And all we did was realign how her femininity is naturally showing up in her current situation and position her in a way that allows her to experience that on a consistent basis with or without men around her. Within a matter of weeks, she experienced a change in the way men in her rotation were connecting with her. What I mean by that is they went from being evasive to being very clear about wanting to take her on dates. They went from being unclear about their intentions to clearly stating they wanted exclusivity. And now she's in a position where she gets to choose, which is exactly what should be going on in the dating process. You shouldn't be in a position where you are waiting to be chosen. As a woman, you should be in a position where you get to choose. You get to choose the man that you're connecting with, communicating with. You get to choose who you want to commit to. It shouldn't be just because a lot is coming to my mind at once, but I'm going to summarize it with this statement. The reason that you're really struggling when it comes to commitment with men If maybe, you're connecting with a lot of men and you're struggling with commitment, maybe you're in a relationship right now where you're not valued, you're being taken for granted. Maybe you have been talking to a guy for a very long time and he hasn't made any indication that he wants to take things more seriously. It's because you don't know how to choose. So what do I mean by that? You don't know how to choose what it is that you want in a relationship. You don't know what it looks like for you to be in a position where you have options, and you do. You're just not conscious of it. So what I did with this client is I just brought her options forward, and she's had, what freaked her out, and this happens to my clients, was that she was starting to see the quality of men she desired come up to her, be attracted to her, want to take her on dates. And that made her question her identity, in the sense of, is she in a position to, even though she was already attracting these men, going through my framework, but it made her question her identity in the sense of, was she in a position to commit to them? Which was interesting, because when we worked on that with her, what she discovered was she had a natural ability to know how to choose the right man for her. When I say natural ability, she knew what she wanted. She knew exactly how to be able to identify it and articulate it. It was just her identity that was making her question those desires. And once we cleaned that up, which is why, again, your patterns are so important, and I take it very seriously in my program, it became easier for her to be able to articulate this to men. And they clearly were stepping up to the plate, because they expressed the desire to be exclusive. They expressed the desire to take her out on dates. They were very expressive about their interest. So if you're experiencing men that are evasive about their interest, they're not clear about what they want with you, their actions are not matching their words, you're in a cycle where, you're dealing with men that ghost on you, that appear today, disappear tomorrow, it is because your positioning is off. That's why that's happening. And that's why in the Dating to Marry program, I work you through the process of understanding how to align yourself, just like my clients are doing, so that you are naturally attracting men on a consistent basis that mirror the quality of commitment that you desire in a marriage. Because if you're not positioned to attract that kind of interaction, there's no way you will get options when it comes to commitment for a man that desires to connect with you on that level. It just won't translate. It's like expecting to get a senior management level position at a high-end company without ever, going through the whatever process they have for interviewing. You just never go through the process. You just somehow expect to magically end up in that position. It doesn't work like that. You have to be aligned for that to happen. So positioning is all about alignment. I help you to step into alignment from a spiritual, emotional, and physical standpoint, so that what you will start seeing, like I've seen with my clients, is you will start seeing men wanting to take you out more intentionally. You will start seeing men wanting to commit to you. You will start seeing men requesting more of your time intentionally and being very clear about their intentions. And it's not just one man. And the mistake I see with the church, and I'm saying the church here just not as the body of Christ, but the church as in the religious organization, in terms of the messaging put out there, is, I don't know how this happened, but somehow the translation has become, when a man takes you seriously, he does A, B, and C. So the expectation is that if a man is now expressing interest and wanting to take you out and wanting to, meet your family and expressing the fact that he desires to get married, you somehow assume that's your husband. But no, that's not the case. That should be the baseline of how you should be engaging with men on a general scale. It shouldn't be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And unfortunately, a lot of women have stepped into marriage because of that misinterpretation. What should actually be happening is, like happens with my clients, what should be happening is you should be experiencing on a recurring scale men showing you their intentions, being clear about the desire to want to commit to you, being interested in getting to know you intimately, expressing the fact that they want to have a future with you. That should be a consistent experience. It shouldn't be the first guy that says, hey, he's serious. No. The reason that it looks that way is just you're not used to it. So when I work with you through Dating to Marry, I position you and I help you in your positioning in a way that this becomes a normal experience. It's not an expectation. It is an experience. So you're not easily wooed, wowed, and run over because he's saying that he wants something serious. That should not be like music to your ears. That should be a normal part of conversation with how you are talking to men. And you shouldn't have to carry the burden of, how do I bring it up? How do I let him know I'm serious? How do I let him know I want something that lasts? No. What you should be experiencing is men should be telling you that willingly because they desire that level of commitment with you. So if you're not seeing any of this, it's because your positioning is off. And what we do through Dating to Marry is clean up your positioning, like literally, like I've just said, clear up exactly how you can align yourself in a way that men perceive you as a woman of value. Not that you're not, but it's different when they perceive you as one, and they pursue you intentionally because they are perceiving you in that light. Now, I was talking about choice. So I want to say something that I know is really important as women of faith for you to understand. You get to choose. I keep singing it because for some reason, I've been going through Dating to Marry applications. I've been having conversations with some of you that have applied for the program and gone through to that point. For some reason, you don't think you have a choice, but you do get to choose. You do get to choose how you want to be taken on dates. You get to choose the caliber of man you want to give your attention to. You get to choose the quality of conversations you want to have with men. You get to choose when you want to commit, how you want to commit, how you want to connect. You get to choose. It's really important. I don't care if you've been previously married, if you're divorced, if you're a single mom, if you've never dated, if you're in your 40s, your 50s, you're in your late 30s, whatever excuse you have given yourself as to why you have limited options is a lie. Regardless of those circumstances, because they're really just circumstances, it's not a fact. When I say it's not a fact, I mean just because, I don't know, you're 45 doesn't suddenly mean that you have limited options in the men you get to choose. Just because you're divorced doesn't suddenly mean you now have to choose from the smaller pool. You have no right to choose a man that matches the qualities you would ideally like in a partner. No, whatever excuse you've given yourself is a lie. It is not a fact. You can use that to your advantage. If you've gone through a divorce, you have experience when it comes to what you don't want. You know exactly what it looks like, depending on how and what you experience in that marriage. You know exactly what it looks like when a man shows up in that way. If you are over 30, 40, 50, whatever the case may be on the scale of age, you have experience when it comes to interacting with people socially. You have experience professionally. You have experience when it comes to, adapting to different environments. It's about learning to use what you have seen as an excuse or as a hindrance to help you in dating, to help you in making an informed decision. You get to choose your partner. The reason you haven't chosen your partner, the reason why you're finding it difficult to express what you would like when it comes to men and interactions is because you do not know how to you do not know how to experience quality options with men. So what do I mean by that? You don't know what a quality man looks like. You have an idea. Like, yes, godly, masculine, he's a provider, he's a pursuer. But when that man shows up in the physical, when you interact with him, you have no idea, you don't know how to recognize it in day-to-day detail, right? You can summarize it, but you don't know how to recognize it. And it's because you don't practice choosing. When you start practicing choice, when you start practicing, I want him to do A, B, and C. I would prefer if we did da. When you start practicing choice, you now become you learn through that process what it looks like to choose. You learn what quality looks like to you, even if y'all are just talking and it hasn't gone beyond that point. You learn what quality interactions look like, even if you're just going on dates. You learn what quality interactions look like, even if it's literally the first conversation. But because you don't know how to choose, you don't know what this looks like. And this is why in Dating to Marry, my focus is on making sure through the process of clearing up your patterns, like I've previously explained the importance of patterns and why I start there, and showing you how to position yourself. Just going through my process, you start learning what it looks like to choose. Like within the weeks of joining my program, within like a month, I have a system that puts you in a rotation of talking to men. There is no single client of mine that hasn't engaged with men, I don't have a single client that hasn't engaged, that isn't engaging, that isn't engaging, talking to men, having interactions with men. No, I have all my clients are in that space, because it's very important to me that you are practicing the art of dating so that you know what it looks like for you to choose. You know what it looks like for you to interact with a man that you're not enjoying the conversation, what it looks like for you to desire a man to take you out on dates, what it looks like for you to desire commitment, and you learn how to express that desire. So if you don't know how to choose, you're going to find yourself in a repetitive cycle of not being chosen. What do I mean by that? You're going to find yourself at the bottom end of the scale, so to speak, questioning why that man isn't returning your calls, questioning your attractiveness, confused around why men are not taking you out. You're just going to find yourself close to, if not at, a victim mentality standpoint. And that's not how you choose quality options in men. Now, I also want to say, if you have any questions about my program, feel free to send me a DM. The next point I want to make is you haven't attracted the right man yet because you're still dating, and I'm going to put this in the context of women that have been previously married. You're still dating like you're still married. And you can change that regardless of your situation. You're dating like you don't have options, regardless of if you've never been married, that's fine. But if you're finding that your crutch, so to speak, is based on your age, you're dating like your age is a hindrance. You're dating like being a single mom is a problem. You're dating like, I don't know, what other excuse do I see from you guys? You're dating like there are no people getting married in your location. You're dating like you're still married. There is no way you're going to have a quality experience when you're not making yourself available for it to happen. That's why if a guy so much as says hi, hello, even though you are not attracted to him, you feel the urge to at least consider him. Even though you're not attracted, and this is how some of you have entered situationships and have entered into a cycle of entertaining men you don't even want. It's because you think somehow you are limited. Now, there's some guilt around that. I don't know how this guilt translates for you because I don't know you personally, but I want you to examine that. I want you to examine this from that standpoint. There's some guilt around you not being married yet because of your age. There's some guilt around you, having a failed marriage. There's some guilt around you not being in a position to have a partner to raise your children with, or your child. And that guilt is literally infecting the way you're attracting men. That's why you're attracting men that don't want to have a substantial relationship with you. That's why you're attracting men that don't want to take you out on quality dates. That's why you're attracting men that have no interest in discussing long-term conversations with you. That's why that's happening. So it's important for you to understand that you are the reason why you are experiencing your current dating reality. Take responsibility for that. You're the reason why you are experiencing, and I've seen this again and again working with my clients, when they go through my process and they start putting into practice the tasks I make available through the Dating to Marry program, they do inevitably start seeing a shift in how they interact with men. They do inevitably start seeing a shift in how men also interact with them. And they also see a shift in how men desire to commit and connect to them, because they've taken that responsibility to do the work, regardless of their situation or their circumstance. And this is, I have clients on a broad scale, this is clients that have never dated, women that have never been in a relationship, that have been previously married, that are single mothers, that are just trying to discover their femininity through the dating process. All of them see a shift. And it's because they've taken responsibility and they've held themselves accountable by going through the process that I outlined for them, for that to happen. So they start attracting the quality and caliber of men that they desire on a more consistent scale. And for you to experience that, you need to stop making excuses for yourself. You need to stop saying, oh, it's because of A, B, and C. Whatever reason you've given off as your excuse is exactly why you should start taking dating more seriously. Okay? And another thing I want to mention is you're not sure exactly what it looks like to date. What do I mean by this? You don't know what it looks like to go through the dating process. Some of you say dating is difficult, dating is hard, dating takes a long time. But that's not true. Dating serves a purpose. And because you don't know how to use it to your advantage, you're frustrated by the experience. It's like trying to iron your clothes in a sink. It's never going to work. If you're trying to iron your clothes with a sink, It doesn't work. Why? Because a sink is not meant for ironing. If you're trying to wash plates with an iron, it will never work. I don't care how clever or how brilliant or how innovative you are, that would never yield results. But that's how a lot of you are dating. You're approaching the dating process in a way that isn't useful to you. So that's why you always end up frustrated. That's why you find yourself constantly in a cycle of disappointment. It's not because dating isn't working, it's that you don't know how it works. And I want to say that again. It's not that dating isn't working. It's that you do not know how it works. And when you don't know how dating works, you're going to experience going into situations with men that you don't want. Why? Because that is the inevitable result of using a process in a way that it was never designed to be used. You're going to always get what you don't want. If I try and wash plates with an iron, I'm never going to be satisfied because I'm trying to get clean plates, but I'm using an iron. So if you're dating in a way that dating is not supposed to be done, don't be surprised if you're constantly disappointed. So what I work with my clients on is understanding. I literally have sessions dedicated for them to understand how to fine tune the dating process to work in their favor. Okay? How it's supposed to work when you're just talking to men, how it's supposed to look like when you're just going on dates. What does it look like to be in a committed relationship? How do I know I'm ready for commitment? What does it look like to be pursued by a man intentionally? How does it feel to be in my feminine? What does it look like to be desired because of who I am as a person? How does it look like to actually be attracted physically, emotionally, and spiritually to the options of men that are approaching me? All these things I said, a lot of you do not know what that looks like. And that is exactly what dating is meant to do. So if you've not experienced this, again, I do know that at no point did I say it's because of your age. It's because of your location. It's because you've been previously married. It's because you're a single mom. It's because you've had a broken engagement and yada, yada, yada. I didn't say any of those things because those are none of the reasons. It's just you don't know how to date. That's the summary of it. You just don't know how to date. That's why you all are catching feelings prematurely. That's why you're easily confused and conflicted when it comes to men. That's why you don't know how to stand your ground. That's why you literally have no clue exactly what to experience or what to expect on a date. That's why you're easily misled. It's not because dating is frustrating. It's just you do not know how to date. Okay, I wanted to really draw out that definition so that you can see where you fall in your current experience. So whatever area you're falling in, however you're currently experiencing men, it's because you don't know how to date in that area. If you are struggling to talk to men, it's because you don't know how to have simple conversations with men. It's not because you're boring. You just don't know how to use dating in that way. Because guess what? If it was a professional setting, I'm sure you do well. If it was an intimate family setting, I'm sure you know how to have conversations. But when it comes to men, when it comes to intimacy, you're just clueless. Again, it's not because you don't know how to talk. It's just you don't know how to use dating in that context. If you're going on dates and it's not yielding results and they're never calling you back and they're ghosting on you and you're always attracting men that you do not find attractive, it is because you don't know how to go on dates correctly. You don't know how to attract the quality and caliber of men that you want to be asking you out. You don't know how to express yourself on a date in a way that invites interest on a more intimate level. That would translate to a second, third, and so on dates. You don't know how to do any of that. And that's why in my program, I literally walk my clients through that process so that when they're showing up in the dating scene, literally had a client, she didn't understand why men weren't asking her on dates. She wasn't sure why it was difficult for men to express interest in her. Her problem was she just didn't know how to talk to men. So I have a conversation template that I put my clients through in Dating to Marry that is very flexible regardless of however you converse. Like I said, I use your natural personality. I use that to help you to date in a way that attracts your own spouse. So this template is designed in that way. She used it. Men started asking her on dates. She started feeling more feminine. She started knowing, it reinforced her confidence. It let her know that she's a desirable woman. She started learning how to read her emotions when it came to men, simply by changing how she was talking to men. That was the shift. It wasn't because of her age, her location. It wasn't because she wasn't attractive. It was just because she didn't know how to talk to men. That was just it. And once we cleaned up that skill and I put her through my template and she understood how to use that in her favor, easy. Men started asking her. That was literally just a simple switch. Had another client, She constantly found herself in situationships. Men did not want to ask her, to move further, to progress further than dates. Put her again through the problem. Her issue was that she didn't know how to date. She wasn't comfortable in her feminine. So we worked on that, and she found herself in a position where men wanted to commit to her, where they were pursuing her very clearly and intently for commitment, not for cruise, for commitment. They were interested in getting to know her exclusively. So if you're not experiencing this, again, it goes back to my point of you do not know how to date. A lot of you struggle with that because your masculine has done so much for you. You got your degree through your masculine. You were able to survive divorce because of your masculine. You've been able to financially provide for yourself because of your masculine. You've been able to get promoted, professional recognition because of your masculine. Guess what? It's not going to get you any results in dating. When I say masculine, I mean your ability to be aggressive, assertive, your ability to lead, your ability to be in control, your ability to be analytical, your ability to advocate for yourself very strongly through your skill set, to put your foot forward very assertively. All of that has helped you in every area of your life, but it will not translate in dating. And you've experienced this because guess what? What's happening is you're attracting feminine men that don't want to lead, men that don't want to commit, men that are always asking you for financial support, men that are looking to you to emotionally regulate them, men that are not ready to provide you with the level of coverage that you desire in a partner, men that are not available for substantial conversations. It's because you're showing up in dating in your masculine. And art I teach my clients is learning femininity, learning to be in their feminine. And I've seen this with clients again and again and again. When they learn to rest in their feminine and they learn to express their desires from a position of femininity, and the important word there is rest, they see a shift in the way men interact with them. Happens all the time. I've had clients say that, men have decided I'm just minding my business and a guy wants to help me out. I had a client that traveled. Men were showing up to help her move her luggage, providing assistance with how she could enjoy the scenery in her location. Men wanting to take her out on dates, asking for permission in terms of, okay, what time works for you? And these are not women that are in their 20s. These are women that are in their, and the reason I'm putting this point is, I don't want you to think because I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, I can't attract men on the same scale. I'm not as attractive as younger women. These are women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that I am talking about with these examples, that men are showing up to, to provide some level of coverage for them, whether it's financial support, navigating a situation, enjoying an environment, whatever it is. These are women at those age range because you never stop being a woman. Femininity does not run out at an age. It doesn't run. You're always going to be a woman till the day you die. Okay? It's not restricted to being in your 20s. It's not restricted to by the time you hit 30, you're no longer a woman. No, you're always going to be a woman. You're always going to be in this energy, but it's important that you know how to inhabit it and you know how to use it as you're dating. And what I do with my clients through my program is show them very, very practically. I do not believe in theory. Show them very practically how they can step into alignment with that identity that they naturally have on a more consistent scale. A lot of you, it's touch and go. You're feminine when you're on the phone with him. When you get off the phone, you start having anxiety. You're feminine today. Tomorrow, you're arguing. You're argumentative. You're struggling to let him take the lead because you don't know how to rest in your feminine. And to attract the consistency that you desire in a partner, you have to learn to just lean into your feminine. You have to learn to take on a position of rest. Because if you want that caliber of man that is a provider, a protector, he's not going to be arguing. He's not there. He's not going to be trying to fight with you for control. You need to be in a position where you are welcoming that level of support. You're welcoming that partnership. The reason you're currently not experiencing it is because you're not staying in that position. You're not inhabiting your feminine on a consistent scale. And what I show my clients how to do is exactly this, because if they don't do that, they will not be able to attract a provider, protector, and a man that pursues them intentionally. I was catching up with one of my past clients yesterday. She's a mother now and she's expecting her second child, which is so exciting. And what's so funny is when she first started her process, she felt like everything was taking too much time. Like, she was in her 30s when she started dating to marry. I mean, obviously, she's still in her 30s. She got married shortly after going through the program. But she was in a position where she was really questioning if it would ever happen for her. And guess what? Now, everything happened in quick succession. She stepped into marriage, got pregnant, had her baby, and is now expecting her second child. And she was literally telling me how she's learning to balance all the hats that are now active in her life, as a mother, as a daughter, as a wife, as a friend, as a supporter. Why am I sharing this? Because I want you to know that this is available to you. You don't have to drop one part of yourself to take up another. A lot of you are saying, oh, maybe it's not my time. Maybe, it's not the right time for me to meet my person. I just need things to settle down in my life a bit. Sis, that's never going to happen. Your life is always going to be busy. I don't have a single client that doesn't have a busy life. All my clients are constantly busy, constantly traveling, constantly have responsibilities. I don't know a single person, even my own life, like I'm a busy person. You just have to add dating to that process. Dating does not take up time. It takes up space. When I say it takes up space, I mean you have to make room for it, but it doesn't take time. The reason it's taking time is because you haven't made room for it. It's like you're trying to squeeze it in. It's like you're trying to force it to happen. It's not going to. That's not how this works. You have to create room for it so that it can have space in your life and you can have space to attract the quality and caliber of man you want. And one of the ways to do that is to stay in your feminine. You have too much, and this just came to me. Part of the reason why you struggle with your feminine is exactly because of this. You have too much going on in your life that is speaking to your masculine. You're going through a divorce. You are trying to raise your kids alone. You are trying to figure out how to date while having a demanding work. You're not even trying to figure out how to date. You're trying to advance professionally, and you somehow think dating should be on the back burner. And then it would happen. No, it doesn't. And then it would just randomly happen. It doesn't work like that. I've seen it again and again with just having conversations. It doesn't show up. And some of you would know this. You thought by now it would have happened. You thought, I just need to get to this point in my career and I will just naturally meet the person for me. But that's not what happened. You have to make room for it. You have to make space for it. You have to make room for your femininity to express itself. And one of the strongest ways it does this is through dating. Okay? Dating tells you a lot about yourself, a lot. And it tells you a lot about the kind of man that you can marry. A lot of you think let me tell you a truth. The kind of man you think you can marry, you haven't dated him yet. That's why you still think you can marry him. If you're making room to go on dates with that kind of man, you will know that can be your husband. You would know that you can't be with that man. So a lot of you you're fantasizing about what it will look like to date the right man for you. Think everything will be perfect. He will have he will have so and so qualities. It is a lie. If he had those qualities, and you met that kind of person in real life, I promise you're going to see. I was literally having a conversation with a client the other day, and she had gone on a date with someone that she thought, was mirroring the qualities she desired. Turned out she wasn't interested. And I said exactly why that's why dating is important. Because it shows you exactly what you need. It is not based on fiction or fantasy. It is factual. It is based on actual experience, not expectation. Which is why, I would like making sure my clients are out there dating, meeting people, connecting, and having conversations with men. Because that feedback is what is going to help them get to the point where they attract their spouses. That feedback is what is going to fuel the desire for them to enter the right marriages. That's how they're going to get discerned. That's how they're going to get discernment. It's not based on sitting down and wishing and hoping. You need to be out there meeting people, connecting, having conversations. And I put them through that in Dating to Marry. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Like, a lot of you are just in your masculine and you haven't made room for your feminine. Another thing is, you don't know how to date to marry. You know how to date to stay single. You know how to date to stay single. That's what a lot of you are practicing, dating to stay single. So what does that look like? You're entertaining situationships. You're not talking to anyone. You find yourself constantly attracting men you do not find attractive. You're struggling to connect with men. You're struggling to, meet the caliber and quality of men you want. You're dating to stay single. Dating to marry is a completely different process. This is where you're intentionally available for the quality and caliber of man you want. You are actively going on dates with this kind of person to learn more about them. You're involving God through that process. You're getting clarity on yourself and your partner through that process. You're learning about the kind of husband that you're going to marry. You're learning about the kind of wife you've been called to be, not the one you think you have been called to be. You're learning what it actually looks like for you to be involved with someone intimately as a partner. That's what dating to marry is. But what I've just described is not what a lot of you are doing. A lot of you are dating to stay single. You're dating out of your ideology of what you think it should look like, and which is why you find yourself in constant situationships. Okay? And finally, you're not clear on how to date multiple men at the same time. And let me be clear, I'm talking about going on dates with multiple men. I'm talking about enjoying the experience of being desired. I'm talking about having conversations with multiple men. That is not the same as commitment. If you're in a committed relationship, that will be described as cheating. But the problem here is a lot of you are so keen on commitment, you do not know what it looks like to explore your options. And I've already covered that when I said you get to choose. So I'm not going to go into it again. But the point I really want to make here is you should be going on dates with multiple men. And multiple men just means more than one. Even if you're not actively talking to anyone right now, you should know what it looks like for you to explore your options. Your ability to choose should not be dependent on if a man is in front of you right now. So what I mean by that is you can make yourself available to meet men. You can make yourself available to connect with people. You can make yourself available to have conversations. None of that is dependent on if a man is asking you out. But a lot of you are not even available on that scale that I just mentioned. You're just not available. And you need to create availability for you to have options. So this is why when I go, this is why my program is set up the way it is. You know, it comes from my experience as a coach. I've been doing this for close to 10 years, and I've seen again and again these patterns in dating when it comes to helping Christian women enter marriages with the partners that they have desired. And for you to go through that process to get to the point where you attract the quality and caliber of man you want, you do have a responsibility for making that a reality. You have to take responsibility for this. I don't care if you're in your 40s, your 50s, you're in your 30s. I don't even care if you've never dated before. If you're a single mom, you're divorced. It doesn't matter. You still have options. You still get to choose. It's time that you take responsibility for that. And how I walk you through that process is showing you how to use your patterns in your favor, aligning you when it comes to positioning yourself, letting you know how you can choose when it comes to, conversations, connections, commitment with men, helping you understand how to date like a single woman instead of dating out of your excuse, which will be dating like you're still a married woman, dating like somehow because you're in your 40s, you have no options, dating like being a single mom is some sort of burden to the options that you have with men. I walk you through the process of how to date as a woman. Date like the woman that you are and resting in your feminine and really understanding how to date to marry so that you have options when it comes to choosing your spouse. And this process is what I've outlined through my Dating to Marry program. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, you want to make this happen for yourself, and you are a woman over 30 that has gone through a major heartbreak, whether it's a divorce, a long-term relationship failure, a cycle of situationships, and you're ready to invest in yourself to see a result in your dating, then feel free to apply, okay? You can click the link in my bio to apply, or you can send me a DM if you have any questions. If you're watching this, feel free to click the link that I have pinned here. But I just wanted to really explain, okay? The aim was to explain the way my program is structured so that you will understand why it's important to approach dating in this way that I have explained it, okay? What I've said here, a lot of you are not doing it, which is why you're struggling when it comes to the dating scene. So if you want to work with me, guys, feel free to apply. I'll review your application and get back to you ASAP. This was fun. Make sure that you share with a sister friend, okay? And like this video. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.